Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Automation Hub Sathak, and I've already done this video in my Hindi playlist. For the English playlist I'm gonna do parallel execution via methods and classes. I'll tell you each and everything using TestNG. Okay, so let's directly jump into the code so that we'll understand it thoroughly. Okay, so I have had some system changes and all that, so you might not see my old code, but anyways I do have them. I'll update them later and upload in GitHub so that you can pull it. Anyways, so I've just created this very small package over here. I'm just going to create a new class to just tell you about this. So what I'll name it as uh, parallel execution, and I'll use a term methods. Why I'm using this, I'll tell you. Okay, so first and foremost, what I'm going to do, I'll create few test cases. Okay, so let me create public void, let's say um, login, I'll write public void operation. Okay, and I'll create another test case, public void logout, something very simple and typical. Okay, so I'm not gonna do much over here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how do we actually execute certain test cases parallelly. So as of now, these are three test cases. So let me write some printout statements. This is login test, and I'll copy this for each of the three, and I'll change it here. And this is operation test, and this is logout test. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this particular class parallel underscore execution methods, which I want to run TestNG parallelly. Okay, so I'll right click TestNG, convert to TestNG. Instead of TestNG.xml, I will write TestNG underscore parallel underscore methods. And one thing, please notice, class selection, I'll keep classes. Parallel mode, instead of none, I'll select methods. Okay, and here thread count, let me give 2. You see, as of now by default thread count is 5. Over the moment I give 2, it will become like this. Okay, I'm not doing anything else, I'm just giving you thread count. I'll click on finish. Why I'm giving thread count 2 and all, I'll just tell you. Now I've saved it. So now this is the TestNG parallel underscore methods.xml, or rather it is a TestNG.xml. So what I'm going to execute this, run as TestNG suite. Okay, so you can see this is executing. This is login test, this is logout test, and this is operation test. Everything looks fine. There is no deviation. This is just a simple test. Now the question is, how do I know which particular test case is actually getting executed in a parallel mode? We do not know. We have not given any sort of a priority or anything as such, right? So now I'm going to do a certain implementation which will give you the concept of knowing which particular test is getting in what particular way. So first and foremost, let me give this as priority equal to 1. Let me prioritize these test cases as well. Okay, and I'll give this priority 2, and I'll give this priority 3. Okay, so and I will also include this depends on methods equal to login. Fine, and here I will add this as well as operation, comma, operation. So this is fine by me. Everything looks good. The next thing is to determine which particular test case is running at what particular level of parallel concept. To do that, there is a certain class which we can use. Okay, so I'll use something like this. we will concatenate any of this particular thing over here, and I'll just give thread dot get current thread dot current thread, and I'll get the ID name of that, get ID. So I'll just use this thing, okay, and I'll copy this everywhere. For this too I'll copy, for this too I'll copy. Now I'll get to know which particular test case is running at which particular parallel level. So I'll just right click and run as this. So in the output you see that the login test is operating at thread number 16. These two are getting operated at thread number 17. I'm not the one who determines which particular thread it will operate on. This is totally decided by JVM. Now the question here is, here how many test cases are there? Okay, let me remove this. This is one test case, this is the second test case, and this is the third test case. And now how many threads have I actually declared? I have declared 2 threads. See, thread count is 2. Let me do thread count 3 so that we'll see whether each and every test case will get a separate thread for parallel execution. Beforehand, what was happening? The thread count were less and the number of test cases were more. Now the number of test cases is equal to the number of thread count. So let me run this again. So earlier we had 16, 17 and 16, or 17, 17 maybe. So now we have each and every thread case assigned to a different thread. So all of them are running parallelly at different levels. Okay, we'll understand them even more thoroughly. You might say, okay sir, now this is very easy. You are just using numbers and you're not doing any sort of automation over here. You're just simply trying to, just give a particular thread to a particular test case. Why not we automate with browsers and then determine? Fine, well and good. I'll write public static WebDriver driver. Okay, and here I will write the WebDriver manager dot Chrome driver dot setup. Okay, driver equals to new Chrome driver over here. Okay, driver dot manage dot window dot maximize, and here I'll write driver dot get. I will open google.co.in. Yes, I'll open this. For this particular test case, I'll copy the same thing, but I'll open amazon.in, and here I'll copy the same thing, but I'll open let's say flipkart.com. This is the one thing I'm going to do. Okay, the only thing which I have done over here is I'm just introducing this automation, just opening browsers using the same concept. I'll just run as, and let's see. Technically, a lot many browsers should open. It is the first time executing, so it might take little bit of time. We'll still wait, have some patience, and let Selenium interact and let the APIs interact with each other. And okay, yes, it is taking some time, but I'll not disconnect it. Just okay, this is quite overwhelming, to be honest, the amount of logs that it is generating. But I'm sure finally it will say opening WebDriver or opening Chrome driver. 1 second. Okay, let me pause. It might take too much time. Okay, this is taking too much time, so let me run again. It did open, but it took its own sweet time, so I'm executing again. I've not changed anything, but um, okay, let's wait. So Chrome browser is opened. We have google.co.in. Okay, now this test case is opening, which had priority 2 with a different thread. Amazon.in is opening, and let's wait for the final one. We also have this thing, right? We have Flipkart. So let Amazon, okay, it's still loading Amazon, so it might take a little bit more time. My internet, as usual, is not very fast. Otherwise, the page would, all the web elements would download faster. But my internet is comparatively slow, and it is raining profusely in my area. Anyways, this should work fine. And a little bit after that, once this, because Amazon is a very okay. Okay, finally Flipkart opens. But again, this being a web commerce uh, website, it will e-commerce website, it will take a lot of time too. But technically, all these things are opening absolutely fine. Google opened because it has very less content to show us. So typically, let's wait for the output. Okay, it is still loading. Amazon loading is over. Google loading is over. Okay. Flipkart is still loading. So once Flipkart completely loads, let me pause it for a few seconds. Okay, finally it worked, and we have test runs 3. We have 3 passes, no failures at all. Flipkart opens fine, Amazon opens fine, and Google opens fine, depending upon the priority we have set here. You can choose not to set priority, it is up to you. You see the results. Okay, so if you go ahead and check the output as well, this one is for login test is coming at uh, number 16. Okay, this is coming at thread number 25, and this is coming at thread number 30. How is this getting assigned? Honestly, I have no idea. JVM internally decides this, which thread, whatever ID it will assign to what particular thread. And especially when we are trying to execute in terms of parallel execution, it can give anything. There is no hard and fast rule that it will be 12, 13, 14, or 14, 15, 16, or 16, 17, 18. And anyways, when we are trying to open browsers, there are a lot of interconnectivity as such. So anyways, this is not a matter of concern. What concern is this? The concern is actually working fine. So I'll manually close these 3 browsers. Okay, so our code is absolutely fine. Now we have learned in up to now that how do we execute uh, multiple test cases parallelly via methods. Now I want to do something. I don't want to execute them parallelly via methods. I want to execute them via classes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another class, new class, and I'm going to write here parallel underscore execution underscore classes. So I'm just going to write this. What I'm going to do now, I'll close this TestNG parallel method. I'll just copy the whole thing. Okay, I'll just copy from here to here. Copy this, paste it over here. Okay, whatever things I have to do, I have to do. The only thing is what I'll do is I'll change some these into a simpler let's say ease my trip. Okay, ease my trip.com. Okay, and I'll use this as openweathermap.org, and I will also make the methods. I'll remove Amazon and all, it takes a lot of time. So I'll just write when Rediff will take time, irctc.co.in, and this one instead of Flipkart, let me give yahoo.com, something like that. Okay, now just see very carefully, these are two different classes. Okay, this one is a class, this one is a class. Okay, so here I'll select both of them, right click, convert, TestNG, convert to TestNG, and here I'll give the name as TestNG underscore parallel underscore classes. I'll name this particular testng.xml file in this particular fashion. Parallel mode, I'll select classes. Thread count, I'll give 3. Instead of methods, I'm selecting classes. Thread count, I'm giving 3. I'm clicking on finish. So now we have this parallel execution for at a class level. Okay, this is not at a method level. You can see the difference over here and the previous one. This one was methods, which we are not using, rather we are using this. So now what will happen is we have these 3 classes over here. On top of that, we have 3 different classes over here. Now there might be a question in your head, what if I want this particular test case, okay, this particular test case to run in multiple threads. Okay, I want this particular test case to run in multiple threads. Okay, like in the last previous execution we had this at port number 25 or something, thread number 25. So I want to run this at multiple threads, like I want to run them twice or thrice. So what I'll do, I'll write something like this, thread pool size. Let's say I want to get them executed twice. You have to also use invocation count equals to 2, because you cannot invocation count, sorry, because you cannot use thread pool size if you are not specifying this. TestNG will totally ignore this. Only and only if this is present, this can be used. So you can use these particular things over here as well, and you can, if you want, you can add it over here. Okay, give comma, and you can add it over here as well, give comma. Okay, so now this particular test case will have 2 different pool sizes. If you want to do this setup here as well, this will also work fine, no problem. I know this is too much information, but again, we're just executing, right? So I'll run as, it will take a lot of time, because technically there are 6 different browsers and each browser is adhering to 2 different threads. So typically there will be 12 browsers that might open up. So we'll have to check one by one how many browsers have opened up. So here in the first case, okay, so Google is opening for 4 times. Okay, we'll see the output. Let me actually tell what will open. Okay, it is continuously opening. Okay, fine, everything is working fine. So google.co.in is present in this particular class, and the invocation count is 2. So the thread pool size we have defined is 2. So this will open 2 times from here, and in the other class it will also again 2 times. So 4 times Google will open. Each and every website which we have mentioned will open 4 times. So this one will open 4 times. IRCTC should open 4 times. I hope the URL is correct. Yahoo.com will open 4 times. No, IRCTC will open only 2 times, because here IRCTC is not there. Okay, so Google shall open 2 times plus 2, 4 times. IRCTC will, okay, this one should open 4 times. IRCTC should open 2 times. Yahoo.com should open 2. This one should open 2 times, and here Google, anyways, it will open 4 times, we already know. Ease My Trip should open 2 times, and Open Weather Map should open 2 times. This should be the actual output of various different browsers. So it is still going on. Let's go ahead one by one. Nothing is opened here, nothing is opened here. Google opens, Google opens. Okay, IRCTC opens once. Okay, it is still opening. Ease My Trip has opened once. Here Open Weather Map is struggling to open, but Open Weather Map has opened. So slowly and steadily everything will clearly open, but we have to actually wait and see what is the exact output that will come across, because as of now we are still opening certain browsers which are still taking quite some time, because we have opened a lot of, see, parallel execution is something which we will do using testng.xml. But yes, again, browser stack is an option, and there are other ways to do parallel, parallel testing, or uh, you know, all these parallel execution. But it will, TestNG will do play a helping role. But when you add multiple thread, and we are also trying to determine which thread ID it is actually operating upon, and plus I have given approximately um, there are 12 browsers which are opening. Yes, my system is not that great, neither is my internet. So yes, it will take time, but eventually it will work out because it is still executing. See, I don't want to terminate it, it is still executing. Some are, some buffering could not happen for certain browsers, but yes, gradually everything will open. So I'm gonna pause the video for some time to actually let the execution happen. Okay guys, finally after a lot of time, I got the total test runs as 12, total passes as 12. If I go to the results of the running suite, we have all the 12 test cases which ran parallelly, and we have the output over here as well, individual outputs. We can check in certain cases, we can check, and then you have to go deep in, deep dive inside, and you can check all these things are there. Please do not try this. This is not the way we actually operate at a framework level. This is just what I told you, that we can do this. This will take a lot of time, and see the number of browsers that have opened, and some did not even render any data. So this is not a very good practice. It'll just bother your system. It'll take away a lot of RAM, and it will slow down your system quite a lot. Don't try this. It was just for education purpose. If you want, you can execute this, but take one or two test cases, that is fine. Don't open 12 browsers at once, because each Chrome browser eats up approximately 300 to 400 MB of data. So 12 browsers, 5 GB of RAM anyways starts getting used up. So don't try this. But this is how the parallel execution of TestNG happens via methods as well as classes. I hope you liked this session, and if you did, please do like and share my videos, and thank you so much. And do not forget to subscribe to my channel, Automation Hub Sarthak. Thank you so much. Sarthak is signing off.